もう助からないっていうイメージがありましたので、もう精神的に、自律神経がやられてしまいました。
10多年前，他被医生诊断出卵巢癌，手术切除又再复发，接受化疗后却出现了严重的副作用。
去年の抗がん剤を受けてる時はもう体がしんどくって食べれない、眠れない、体重は減る、で歩けない、それでもう去年の年末まで私は生きてられないと思っていました。でところが免疫療法っていうのは以前から興味がありましたので、もうすぐ飛びつきました。すごく普段の生活に戻りました。感謝、私にとってはもう、命の恩人というか感謝するのみです。
除了日本的癌症病患，美国的费林先生也因为用免疫疗法抗癌重获新生。66岁的费林先生原本是位专业的拍卖师，2008年被诊断出肾脏癌。原本以为切除后就可以一劳永逸，想不到才隔了4年，体内又出现了肿瘤的阴影。
I was, pretty distraught, as anybody would be, and I was wanting to have something done, and I didn't know what to do after they operated on that.
好在费林先生选择接受最新的抗 CTLA4 和抗 PD-1 的癌症免疫疗法，人生从黑白变彩色。
I feel great. I've never felt bad. I've felt good. I eat good. Everything seems normal. I mean, just very little side effects.
Side effects make you tired?
Very little, no. I'm just real thankful.
免疫系统有刹车分子，而我们可以控制它们，借此杀死癌细胞。这是詹姆斯·艾利森与本树幼划时代的新发现。发现第一个刹车分子的艾利森博士兴奋地分享着病人的喜悦。
But this woman in May 2001 had failed every other therapy, and there's her tumor in her lung and down here, and so I know her doctor, Dr. Anthony Ribas in California, and he said, we've got this new drug. It's not been in people before, but we'd like to, use it. And she told me that she said, well, I don't care. I just want to see my sons graduate from high school. So if I can get another 3-4 months, I'd be happy. Within 4 months or so, she looked like that. And
4 months and 1 shot.
And in 10 years, she still looks like that. So, well, this is in 2011, after a single dose.
Single dose, wow.
And so now her kids have graduated from high school, college. If there's one thing that's more adaptable, more plastic, more able to change than a cancer cell, it's the immune system, because that's how it's designed. Purpose for the immune system is to protect you against anything that nature throws at you.
An immune system has to be equipped with a regulatory system, because just like a car, you need to start is ignition.
Yes.
And that is recognition of the bad guys. And then to start the car, you need an axle, and that gives the power. But if you don't have a brake, the system is disaster. The car cannot stop and you cannot drive. So the immune system also has an axle and a brake. And the brake, there are 2 kinds. One is CTLA4, which Jim Allison is working on, and the PD-1, and that these 2 brake control molecule is now the major power for the treatment of cancer.
这个假设分别花了他们20年来证明，而真正撼动世界是当艾里森博士的研究成果结合了本树佑教授的心血，发挥出革命性的加成效果。
Cancer therapy is really goal is to try to improve survival of patients, and for a particularly aggressive cancer like melanoma, the goal has been if this is an untreated disease or best standard of care, what has been considered a success is to move the median, the 50% survival mark, over by just a few months. And that's been success, acceptable enough to get certain drugs approved, and then they become the standard of care, and that's what we've been used to. But what we've learned now from immunotherapy, such as anti-CTLA-4, is you can achieve that. But then what happened with CTLA-4, with a follow-up study, it went out with about, there's a break here, about 20% of patients surviving for 10 years after therapy. And so we know with anti-PD-1, you can achieve similar effects, although it hasn't been around nearly as long. Looks like it gives something like about this. And then we don't know because it just started. But what we know now, in combining these two drugs, given together, it's not 20% plus 25%. It looks like it gives 90%. And we're only at 2 years now. But the survival rate in melanoma patients who get the combination is 90% of the optimal dose. And so the whole point is we need to change the focus, the goal of cancer therapies, from paying attention to this to paying attention to this and this, and then getting combinations and really move the tail, as we call it, the tail of the curve, move it as high as possible using the right combinations in as many different cancer kinds as we can to really give people, the chance of really having quality and long lives after treatment for their disease.
完全颠覆医界对于癌症的想象，也因为这一项成果，癌症免疫疗法登上了2013国际期刊《科学》杂志封面，获选为当年度科学突破之最。
The future is here, and I believe one of these drugs is already FDA approved for melanoma, but I believe there will be another one, I hope next year, for kidney cancer. And we are about to launch a trial combining these two drugs, nivolumab and ipilimumab, as first-line therapy in patients with kidney cancer. So we're moving this therapy now from patients who have already been treated to giving it up front, because we believe there is a promise that these therapies are going to be much more effective than what we've had for the last 8 or 9 years, which is targeted therapy.
然而，认同来得并不容易。免疫疗法治的是免疫系统，而非直接攻击癌细胞，因此不能用已知的标准来衡量效果。
I think it also changes the way the oncologist. I'm an oncologist, so really changes the way an oncologist thinks about treating the patient. Before, people would give chemotherapy and they want to see the disease shrink and go away. Almost right away. They want to see that happen within 4 weeks even, or else they say, oh, we failed, let's try something else. But for the immune system to work, it actually takes many, many weeks, months even, and sometimes even a year longer for it to see its full effect. Sometimes the tumor actually may get slightly larger before it shrinks. And you have to be patient, and you have to be very thoughtful about what the next step is. Because if you change therapy, and you say, oh no, it's not working, let's just give chemotherapy or something else, you pretty much ruin the effect of what the immune system is trying to do.
面对不断的挫折，当多年的血泪付出仍不受青睐，唯有烈火般的热情能让人继续坚持下去。
He's very passionate about science. He's very passionate about life. He's very passionate about curing patients. I mean, he doesn't work directly with patients. He works with mice, but a lot of his own family members died with cancer, including his mother when he was very young, and that's been the driving force in him wanting to have this impact.
艾利森博士在德州大学奥斯汀分校取得生物博士学位，曾任职于加州大学伯克莱分校癌症研究实验室主任，以及纽约史隆凯特林癌症中心。2012年回到家乡德州大学的安德森癌症中心，担任免疫学系主任。驱动他投身医学研究的力量，其实最初是来自对家人的不舍。母亲癌症病逝那年，他才11岁。
I've always been interested in cancer since I was young because it hit my family in a really big way. My mother died of lymphoma, and one of her brothers died of melanoma, and another one of her brothers died of lung cancer. And then later on in my life, my brother died of metastatic prostate cancer. So it's in quite a bit of it. But having said all that, it's not that I was trying to necessarily devote my life to curing cancer. I really consider myself more of a basic scientist. So what I tried to do was I was always interested in the immune system because I was, just convinced that if we just understood how it worked, we could use it to treat cancer.
When he arrived at the University of Texas campus, he pretty much knew what he wanted to do. He was interested in pursuing a career in science. At one time, he thought he might go to medical school, but that was only with the idea of doing research. So he was way more focused than the average University of Texas students, including me.
When I started college, I wanted to be a doctor, so I started in pre-med. But I realized very quickly, a doctor's job, a physician's job, is to be right, and to be right, you don't want to be wrong because you got a lot of responsibility. And I just didn't think that was for me. I'd rather do something where I could, think about something and be wrong most of the time and still and hopefully every now and then figure out something, hopefully something important.
相对于亲人罹癌而研究出突破性免疫疗法的艾利森博士，来自京都的本树佑教授，在高中时就立下宏大的志向，他要帮助很多人。
If I were a clinician and seeing a patient, I guess I might have enjoyed itself because I can get personal satisfaction by the patient if I can treat him or her. But I thought, it's a limited number of patients. How many patients I can see? Maybe 10,000 or,
Exactly.
So, if I find something good for many patients, can be millions of people, I do not get the direct appreciation, but to me it's a great satisfaction and good feeling.
家庭では仕事の話は一切いたしません。ただリラックスをしてると思います。ただ常に何かを読んでる、論文を読んだり本を読んだり帰ってからしております。一生懸命するというその中途半端にいい加減にいろんなものを興味深くこちょこちょとするんではなくて
本树佑教授毕业于京都大学医学系，并取得医化学博士学位。他曾赴美担任卡内基研究所客座研究员，以及美国国立卫生研究院客座研究员。走上研究的道路是来自于父亲的影响。
My father is a clinician, but he wanted to do research. Because that's why he is in the university and also went to the United States. But he also always complained, if you see a patient, you have to devote your time and then the remaining time for research is very limited.
Yes.
So after I get into medical school, we had many conversations, and if you want to do research, you better go to the basic research.
Yes.
Rather than many people following the discoveries in the West and then try to extend on it, he asked himself what is the most important issue today in immunology or in molecular biology, and then even if it's very hard and it takes a long time, tries to answer right in the direct angle into what.
Oh, nice one this time. Yes, really good.
主人は第一は研究ですが、第二はゴルフ。
本树佑教授认为，人最后就是靠体力决胜负。他不止很少搭电梯，假日时他打高尔夫球锻炼体力。
Golf game is not just power. It's not just strength, but it's not just hitting a ball far, but you need lots of mental control.
Yeah.
You need lots of mental training and also experience. And the nice thing, I think, is every time you go, even the same golf course, the ball end up to a totally different environment.
如果说高尔夫球是本树佑教授的放松方式，那葡萄酒和音乐就是艾利森博士最好的抚慰。
Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big. No, you just tall, and that's about all.
So here's to Jim, a great individual, a great musician, and he's done a little bit about science. He's done a few things for cancer patients. But really, seriously, Jim, we're really proud of you. We're really amazed by what you've done in your life and what you've done for the patients.
Congratulations. We're good as a band of brothers.
And congratulations for winning the tank prize. Yes. You won the tank prize.
相对于艾利森博士欢快热闹的美式庆祝，本树佑教授的庆功宴则是充满浓浓的京都风情。
先生おめでとうさんだ。
ありがとう。ありがとうございます。急なことで本当にご迷惑をおかけいたしました。ありがとうございます。
And I really appreciate Mr. Samuel In, who initiated this system, and he also has done lots of things for encourage people in academia in a different field. And also, I think this is good for Taiwan as a whole. They can show that Taiwan is very much concerned for this kind of the activities like environment, biomedical science, and law and sinology. Yeah.
We know that this is named for a glorious period in the history of the Chinese people, and what a tremendous responsibility it is for not only Dr. Allison, but for our institution.
I think it's putting the emphasis in the right place, and just, especially someone who has children, you want your children to think of science as an exciting place to be in, and it's a place where society appreciates your work. And so this prize, again, appreciates the efforts that have been put forward to help and treat patients. And that's important because we don't see enough of that out there. And that's important, I think, to give the right message about why science needs to be continued, why the next generation should be interested in science.
tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun.
I don't think he would try to influence someone. You know, he did what he had a passion for.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks everyone should do what they have a passion for and not be driven by, you know, a profit or acclaim. It just happens to be that what he's done is turned out to be very, very important.
Yes.
And brought, you know, him a lot of acclaim. And I think that makes him a little bit uncomfortable, but he's taking it okay.
为了人类的未来，艾利森博士团队不只希望能延长病患几个月的寿命，更希望能从此战胜癌症。
CTLA-4 actually, so it's an approved drug for melanoma, so that's already approved, and it's being tested in many, many other cancer types, either as a single agent or in combination with another drug, which is the anti-PD-1 drug.
Okay.
So it's either being given by itself or again in combination, and it's being given in multiple tumor types. The tumor types right now are prostate cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, gastric cancer, triple-negative breast cancer, colorectal cancer, bladder cancer. All these different cancer types are now being tested in clinical trials to see if these therapies can work for these patients as well.
抗 PD-1 也已核准为黑色素瘤药物，而本树佑教授则期待透过免疫疗法治疗超过80种肿瘤，甚至是艾滋病。
I just talked with people in the HIV, so that because if you activate immune system, our body become very strong against all type of the infectious diseases. So I suggested people, why don't you try PD-1 antibody for HIV patients?
对艾利森及本树佑而言，获得糖奖让他们辛苦多年的研究工作受到肯定。对于深陷绝望的癌症病患来说，艾利森和本树佑让他们在黑暗中看见曙光。